Hi, we are back for another week. Last week was the highly anticipated Google I/O 2025 event, where Google presented all their new products. Giorgio and I were so impressed by what they released that we wanted to dedicate this episode to going through it all. That, and also because it's a trending topic that might help us to get promoted on Spotify. We hope you enjoy it.
I'm Giorgio Zinaro.
I'm Iván Peña, and this is Bootstrap for Cash. Good morning, Giorgio. How are you doing this week?
Yeah, very good, very good. How about you?
Yeah, we were discussing about it already. I've been playing with ADK, this framework from Google for agents, to build agents. And because, I don't know if we mentioned in previous podcasts, but we applied for the hackathon from Google. And we have till the end of June 2025, by the way, if you're listening to this in 2030 or something. It's quite interesting. Like we were saying, and we missed content for the podcast, having this discussion. It happens every time, right? Like we don't realize we start talking about something, and at the end of the conversation is, oh, damn, that was so interesting. It's really content.
It should have been in the podcast.
Exactly. And it happens so many times to us. And then we start recording, and it's like, well, I don't know what to talk about. So from now on, maybe we should use these devices. There is something called Plot, right? That you bring it with you and it starts recording everything, and then it does a summary with AI, right? So maybe we should bring this Plot every time to every meeting or something like that.
There was another failed startup. We also wanted to do it.
Yes.
Years ago.
Yes.
Go figure.
So we wanted to be transparent since the beginning, right? And we are having always this dilemma. So the episodes that were more trendy got more streams than the others. And if you remember, and if you listen to the intro, the idea or the background behind this podcast was talk about the experience, like our journey while we are trying to figure out how to build a business. And we try to, and some episodes are about that, but some others are more about AI trendy stuff, which is part of the journey because we want to be AI first. So it's actually we are not losing our flavor, but it's more trendy. And of course, it got more streams. So today we have a dilemma to talk about two different things. One was about discussing live, what are the added values of our products, the ones that we are building right now, because now we are trying to distribute them. And sometimes it's difficult, especially for me, to know what's the added value on top of something else, like, for instance, ChatGPT. And maybe one idea was to discuss this live so that you see the whole process and how this works and so on, so that in case you have it also in the future. And the other one was this topic about Google I/O 2025. They presented a lot of interesting stuff. And obviously this is more trendy. So if you put in your title, Google I/O goes wild or something like that, I don't know, then it might attract more people. And even the algorithm from Spotify and other platforms can promote it more than maybe just some random discussion, a couple of nerds trying to build a business, right? What is bringing more added value? To be honest, if you're listening to this in 2030, probably the presentation from Google I/O 2025 is completely useless.
Google has taken over the world already by now.
Yeah, exactly. So now our leader is Sundar Pichai already. So it's either him or Xi Jinping.
I was going to say the AI, Sundar AI.
So at the end, we decided, like, since the idea of this podcast right now is to distribute our products or to help us distribute, also to kind of have a log about what we are doing, let's do Google I/O. It's more short-term solution, but it's how it works. Do we like it? No. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it's definitely lots of interesting stuff happening there, and also actually somewhat helping our ideas of business and somewhat hindering it. Depends on the perspective, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half of the things they released, it's ideas things we wanted to develop, or we had already started developing. There is one in particular they're working on this Project Astra, obviously, they are very ambitious, or we were very ambitious, but we started working on something remarkably similar just a couple of weeks before that, and we applied to Y Combinator with that, and it was exactly a personal assistant, a universal AI assistant. So having access to all those tools that you have access as a person, like your email, your calendar, and letting an AI agent take care of that. And well, yeah, you could say the fact that Google is doing it, you could take it as validation, or you could take it as the death of your project, because obviously.
Well, to be honest, we are not losing yet our added value, which is from the beginning was to run it locally so that nothing goes to the cloud. And
Yes.
Project Astra, I'm not sure it can do it locally, but even if it does, at some point, I'm pretty sure that Google is going to take that data and do something with it. So if you really care about privacy, or if you're in Europe, or if you're a business in Europe especially, you care about privacy. So I think we are still having added value on top of it. And EcoPilot, the product we are talking about, it's running completely on the phone, right? So nothing is being sent to the cloud.
Yeah, that's true. We say we could be the Proton Mail of
exactly.
Project Astra.
And Proton Mail is doing quite some money, right?
Oh yes, absolutely, and they're doing a really good job actually.
They're in Switzerland, right?
And they are, of course, yes, they also lean quite heavily into their Swiss branding, I would say. Came out of CERN, and
that I didn't know.
Yes, they are. They are formerly from CERN in Geneva, and now they built up quite some. They started with with email. That's why Proton Mail. Then I think it became just Proton, and they are really challenging the entire Google workspace. So Google Drive, Google Calendar, contacts, anything. The full suite of productivity tools from Google. And yeah, obviously they're taking a completely different approach. So not snooping into your data, not using your data to train their AI models and stuff. So yeah, I guess there is some, and they're doing some good business, I would say. I think they now moved their intellectual property into foundation, if I remember correctly, so that they separate the building blocks from the actual business.
It sounds like OpenAI.
Yeah, I think they went the other way around, actually.
They do. Yeah, exactly. They started with a business, right? And now they created the foundation.
Yeah, so
it's completely the opposite.
Yes. I think Sam Altman has a different plan in mind.
So this Project Astra, so if you don't know about it, it's kind of like a Jarvis-like research prototype. So basically it's running on your phone. It's a personal assistant, voice assistant that you can talk to. And the video is quite impressive, but we know that Google are quite good at doing marketing videos. And actually afterwards, when you try the actual product, it's far from that.
We're getting good at that too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
Making good videos.
Yeah, but still hats off to Google or the marketing team from Google, because the video is quite impressive. And when you watch it, it's like, wow. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. And I think if I remember correctly, they have a small banner below the video saying that the speed was increased because, the model is not that fast.
Results may vary.
Exactly. But yeah, there is a guy fixing a bike, and he doesn't know about certain things, or maybe he knows he needs some pieces for the bike, and then it asks Astra to look for them on the internet, buy them, look for YouTube videos on how to do some stuff, and everything is happening in real time, right? So it's pretty impressive. Another thing is it will only work probably on Android. I'm not sure they will do it for iOS. And EcoPilot, our product, is supposed to work on both platforms.
Yes, definitely on iOS at least, because we've got the prototype running on iOS. We've got the agent working. We've got the local AI
Mhm.
currently based on Quen model, and also the performance is not bad.
And we managed that doesn't speak in, in Chinese.
And we did not speak Chinese.
It was quite scary, right? Because the first time I gave it a try, the prompt was in English, everything was in English. And then suddenly I get an answer from it in Chinese. It's like, why are you answering in Chinese? So it was fun. And then what about the voice assistant? So the voice part, the transcript?
Oh yes, well, also Ecopilot, not just it's not just the AI agent running locally, but also the speech to text, also using Whisper and Whisper CPP in particular. So it's using Whisper CPP and Llama CPP from GGML to run everything locally. So we've got a nice wrapper around it, basically, to do structured calls and to do tool calling so that it can become an agent, as we said. So that's the added value of Ecopilot around the foundational models. And yeah, that's also completely running locally, near real time. And again, of course, you could say speech to text already exists on those platforms. But if you go and look at the small print, both from Google and from Apple, they say it may work in airplane mode, so without internet connection, but it usually requires connectivity to their servers to operate. So it means that at some point, whatever you say to Siri, please don't switch on, or to Google, it will be recorded and will be sent to their servers. And again, this is not something Ecopilot needs.
And another thing is, I talked to my brother. He's using Siri, and I tried the one from Google, and they don't really recognize things like commas and dots and this kind of things, right? Like or exclamation marks. The one from Google is really bad at it. So everything is like one sentence, no signs, no nothing, no expression, which might be interesting also. Like if you are passing that directly to the other model, the model might need that to have a better understanding of what you want to achieve. And the one from Siri, it works from time to time. And my brother told me that sometimes he had to specifically say comma, so it writes the comma. But that didn't work either 100% because sometimes he could write comma with words, right?
Cool.
So yeah, this is something that Whisper is really good at, and also to mix languages, right? If you have the multilingual model, you can, if you're speaking in English and suddenly, or maybe if you're speaking Spanish and sometimes you say some English word, Whisper works quite well with that and can mix different languages, although it knows that you are talking Spanish, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Should even be a mode. I didn't try it out yet, but there should be a mode to transcribe in English anyway. So you can speak whatever language and the entire output is in English. If you think about it, considering the scope of Ecopilot, it's quite useful because you could say it becomes a bit kind of the lingua franca. So it goes from whatever you say to Whisper, it goes into English. The agent takes the English commands, does whatever it needs to do, and then maybe at some point still can still write some text in another language. You could even use another model to write some language. Say you need to write an email. It's something we're prototyping just now, actually. You could have one model being the brain, so coordinating all the other pieces, and then a dedicated model, or maybe the same model but with a dedicated prompt to write emails, so he knows exactly the right tone, the right style to use. And that could be also in another language. So yeah, it's a pretty powerful combination, I would say.
One thing I wanted to ask you, maybe you understood better, because there is another product released by Google. It's called Gemini Live, and that's one actually is for Android and iOS, they're saying. But what exactly, did you understand what's exactly the difference between this product and Project Astra? Because I really don't get it. It's like another assistant, but why not using Astra instead of creating two different products?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, it's not 100% clear. The impression is that Gemini Live feels a bit more like an extension of, what was
Mm-hmm.
it called? Google Search Lens, I think it was called. You could take a picture of something and then it will search on the internet. And it feels a bit like Gemini Live could be doing the same, but whatever you take from your camera, it's now fed into the
Okay.
Gemini context, and I guess based on that, you can probably then do some research or some search in the end and give you an answer. To be honest, we need to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Google is a huge monster, right? It's a huge company. And I know for sure because I listened to or read something that they were saying something like that. Sometimes they have this chaos internally because there are different teams working on things and maybe those things conflict with each other. And then you have two products doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Certain functionalities that conflict with each other.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, but there are two different teams. It's a big company. So at the end, they are kind of like competing with each other internally.
Yeah, it does happen. They take all the chat products
Yeah.
they released over the years. It's sometimes somebody builds a chat at Google. I guess now they build AI assistants. So sometimes somebody is releasing an AI assistant.
So another interesting product, especially for us, and our new product, Pixel Edit, is the new version of Imagen. Imagen is the Google image editor model that it does two things. One, it generates new stuff from scratch. And second, it edits stuff from an existing image. We call this in painting. So let's summarize. In painting is you take an existing image, you create a mask. A mask is just a black image with a white area which is marking exactly the object or the area of the image you want to edit. So you apply that mask to the existing image, and the model will just modify the part of the mask, and the rest will be left untouched. So that's what Imagen does, and they released a new version 4. Another thing is the outpainting. Yeah, exactly. We were talking about that. So outpainting is basically you give an image, an existing image, and what the model does is to generate the surroundings. Although it doesn't know, it just gets from the context of the image, it just comes up with some surrounding stuff.
Imagine what it could look like, right, around that area.
But in our case, we are only using the in-painting functionality. And yeah, we need to give it a try because Imagen 3 was already quite good and the results were positive compared to others, including Image 1 from OpenAI, because that one doesn't do in painting, or it was not doing it. Maybe they changed that already. I don't know. We need to check. But the thing is, if you fed to ChatGPT an image and tell remove that thing from the table, what it was doing is it removes the thing from the table, but it generates new stuff. It creates kind of like it takes the whole picture and it changes somehow the flavor, right? It's not exactly the same picture. And that, for the specific use case that we were trying to solve with Pixel Edit, it was not good. The picture had to really be left as it was. So that's why we went with Imagen 3, and now we have to take a look at Imagen 4. I think it's a bit more expensive, but yeah, but it's still much faster than Image 1 from OpenAI. I mean, if you try to generate a picture with ChatGPT, you can see how slow it is, and that makes much worse the user experience of your own product if you're using this model, while Imagen is much faster.
And there is another, of course, right? Not just images, but another product, another model is also the new Veo model, right? Veo 3. Unfortunately, we cannot try that one out yet. I think it's only in the available in the US for now.
I guess with a VPN you could.
I'm never quite sure when they introduce those limitations, if it's your IP or if it's where your business is registered. It feels like it's a bit random sometimes. Sometimes it just works with a VPN. Sometimes they're blocking you. You need to give it a shot.
Imagen 3 was also for the US, and with a VPN, you could use it. Now I think it's worldwide, but at the beginning it was with, you had to be approved by Google, and then you had to be in the US, I think. And it works fine with a VPN. But yeah, with VO3, I don't know. But yeah, it's quite impressive what you can achieve with it, right? Like, it's very realistic compared to other models. It's crazy. The only thing, I mean, if I send you this video from this guy from YouTube, and he was testing different use cases with it, and it's still not perfect. So it misses whenever you have to include text in the video, the text is not good. It just comes up with whatever. It does weird stuff.
Yes. It's trying really hard to say. It's just, it feels like it's maybe a bit dyslexic, but it gets it mostly right. Mixes up some words.
And there were all other use cases that it was not good enough. With gymnasts. It was trying to, so if you try to generate a video of a gymnast, the movements of the body were still weird. So the gymnast was doing weird stuff, like physically impossible stuff.
Yes. It doesn't have the clearest understanding of how gravity works, right?
Exactly. That's one thing. And the second thing, how the human body works, right? And so there are still certain things that are not really possible with these models. But the good thing is it adds audio on top of the video, so you can generate audio with it, and other videos you cannot do that, right? Actually, we were wondering the other day if we create another product to generate videos for TikTok, for instance. And we were wondering how to achieve that, because the only model that generates video and audio at the same time is VO3. And it's very expensive. And yes, Giorgio said you cannot access it from Europe. But there are workarounds, right? So the idea is that you could generate the video with whatever video model, with some prompt. You generate the video doesn't have any audio. Then you add on top some music. The music doesn't have to match anything of the video, it can just run in the background. So you have two models, one for the music, one for the video. And then if for TikTok, it would be nice to have some avatar. So the tricky part here is how to create the avatar. You can do it with 11 Labs or some other model. You create the avatar. And then the idea is how to sync the video that is happening behind, like maybe some demo about one app, and the avatar talking about that. So that's the tricky part, because you need two models to do that.
Yeah, I wonder if there are some lip syncing models that have existed actually since a long time. Those are existing since at least a couple of years probably now. And yeah, we need to see if we could generate an initial video with just the avatar, you could say, whatever animation we can come up with that, and then create the text to speech, so just the audio, and then finally do the lip sync based on that. That could be an interesting approach and possibly much cheaper, but we need to try it out, I guess.
Then we have Google Flow, which is more taking all the different models they came up with and putting them together in a nice UI, concretely for filmmaking, right? If you're a filmmaker or you create video content, this tool is for you, right? Google Flow. So it allows to create video with VO2 or VO3. You can create also visuals with Imagen. And I saw this demo from the same guy from YouTube, and it has still quite some restrictions. So it's not working 100%. But we know Google does that, right? And actually, they are quite good at that. They release something, it's not perfect, and they start selling it, and the marketing is like, when you watch the video, everything is perfect and so amazing and so on. But I think it's smart, and that's actually what we should start doing, Giorgio. Be more like Google.
Yeah.
And because, it sells a lot, right? And creates a lot of hype.
Yeah, we should be more like Google. Make more money.
I would love to have Google's money, to be honest. Another product is the deep research.
Oh yes, that one we love, that one we use a lot.
Yes, with our beloved notebook LM.
Together with Notebook LM. I think that's there's not many people doing that. I've tried to look it up on the internet, and well, check out the last episode when we gave you those tips on how to use deep research and Notebook LM for best results. But yeah, I want to try out this new version where you can also give it more context to deep research, so they can come up with a better plan, I guess. And
they sell it that you can do custom upload, so you can upload PDFs, screenshots, or notes. And I didn't know this was not possible before. Actually, I thought it was possible that you can add documents and other stuff to the context so that the deep research it's more successful.
The unfortunate thing is that you not really though. The problem was that you could add them to a context, but eventually deep research would need to be queried with just the one prompt. You couldn't really only pass one prompt, which is why also that strategy I had with Notebook LM was even more valuable, because then you could have everything in Notebook LM first and then come up with a good enough prompt to give deep research so that he came up with a plan. Whereas now the idea is that I guess they probably increase the context window, or I don't know what technical details are behind, but you can give a lot more data because you can give, yes, a PDF or screenshots and more notes so that deep research has a better idea of what it needs to search for on the internet. So, yeah.
Another product they released, or functionality in this case, is the agent mode for the Gemini app. So now, if you remember, we talked about menus, and I don't know how many episodes ago, that it was this huge agent or agents and trying to achieve many different goals, real life goals, right? And it seems now Google is also releasing their own agent for that. And basically it integrates with all the tools from Google, and you could book flights and you could book hotels and other things and do shopping online and everything through the Gemini app, integrating obviously all the different tools from Gemini, which is maybe the deep research as well. I don't know if it's possible actually. It would be nice to, if you want to buy something and you ask Gemini that you need whatever, I don't know, a microphone, and it uses deep research to look for the cheapest microphone and the best microphone out there. And it goes to one online shop and it does the buying for you. That would be interesting. I don't know if it does it.
Oh yeah, that'll be curious.
But I know many people use deep research to find good deals on the internet with, I don't know if there are some discount coupons and these kind of things. They use deep research for that. So that would be also interesting to have the whole workflow. So you don't have to do anything. It's just, hey, Google, I just need a microphone. And then it does everything.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Well, like pros and cons, and knows you, right? Whatever you could like the most, that would be interesting.
Then we have Google Jules, which is the direct competitor from Codex from OpenAI. And it, for now, I think it's for free. You can use it for free. And while Codex is included, I'm not sure if it's included in the $20 per month thing.
I think it is already available in Pro, yes.
Okay. Because before you had to pay the $200 per month, right? And it was crazy. But I didn't experience them myself, but a friend of mine did. And he told me that Codex at this point is much better than Jules. But yeah, again, Jules is for free and it's Google. So it's a matter of time that it competes hand to hand with Codex from OpenAI, right? Although I'm still quite happy with Cursor, to be honest. So that's why I didn't try Jules or Codex or any other thing, because so far to do what I want, Cursor is for me the one to go. And when people ask me, I always say Cursor first. But it's true that I didn't try the other, so maybe I'm losing some opportunities here.
I'm having a nice experience now with Aider, which is just the open source tool that then uses it can use any model out there. So it's got connectors for many models, usually through OpenRouter. That's so that you can get at the best price many different models like DeepSeek or Claude or Gemini.
So for the people that don't know, what's OpenRouter?
Oh yeah, that's a very, very interesting concept.
We are losing money.
Basically, they're just a proxy. Yeah, you're losing money if you're not using OpenRouter, and
They don't promote us. We are losing money as well.
We're making them money, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do a very interesting concept because they are a proxy to AI models. So you call the OpenRouter API, you specify which model you need or the features you need. Actually, you can even use the multiple models that offer those features, and it will look for the let's say the best provider at the point of time. It can mean different things, like could be the cheapest, it could be the one with the best uptime. You can customize that a bit, and I guess because they're so huge, they even negotiated better prices. So you pay even lower rates, and you only need to pay credits on OpenRouter, and they take care of everything else. So you go through OpenRouter, and then they forward your request back and forth to whatever provider makes sense at that moment. And so it means with just one provider, you can try out many different models. You just need to pay once. It's easier to switch from one to another. Obviously, there is always the problem of the leaky abstraction, right? Depending on what you're doing. Maybe if you're doing some specific things with tool calling, models behave differently, so it gets a bit harder. But overall, the experience is quite good. And
our problem was with structured output, right?
Yeah, exactly. We did try it, but with structured output, things were a bit rough. And at some point, we just needed to move fast. But probably we will still give it a shot later on, especially if we go on with that idea we had with Unitext of making it actually more similar to Aider in a way. So that could make sense to invest in OpenRouter again. But yeah, it's also, Aider is more similar to Cursor than Jules, with the difference that Aider and Cursor eventually they're running on your machine and calling the LLM on one end to orchestrate some change that you want to make, and doing agent calling from your machine, for example, taking some data from the docs, reading the docs, getting the data, and then changing the code and letting you validate and commit. Whereas Jules or Codex, they are like an offshore contractor. So you give it the tasks, and they do whatever, and they send you a pull request. You just find pull requests in your Git repo, and you just need to put some comments and ask for changes. Please write a test. Please fix this thing. Or can you explain why you did this or that? And the model is running elsewhere. And again, doing all those things, but it's more like a black box. I want to try it out. I want to try out Jules. I need to decide which repo give it access to, actually. It was quite a funny thing. I don't know if anyone saw it, but I should have to find the link. Maybe I'll put it in the episode description if I can find it. There are some open source repos from Microsoft, and I think Microsoft has some mandate to use, I think it's Codex. I don't know which model or which tool it is actually. But it doesn't look like the Microsoft engineers are very happy. So some fairly simple pull requests, they are spending a lot of time explaining to the tool what they should do. I'm quite sure they've got that feeling that they could have done it in 5 minutes and then to spend half an hour explaining that to a junior AI developer how to do that. So I guess they're pretty pissed, but it's quite funny to see, to be honest.
Another product, the 9th product. I think there are 15. We need to speed up. No, 13. So AI mode in search, which is basically adding Gemini to Google search. So I don't know what's new about this, to be honest, because before we had this zero search. I think it's called zero search on Google, right? Like you ask Google for something and then some AI writes right at the top some response, right? And then you get the normal listing. So I don't know what's new about this compared to this zero result thing.
I think it's the fact that they say that it's conversational now.
Okay.
Again, also need to try this one out. I didn't see that actually, but it seems it lets you go back and forth in your research. So not the way Google search works now. Every research is a thing in itself, right? So you do a search and then maybe you think of something else and then you need do a new search again. Whereas as I understand it now, this becomes more conversational. So it gives you some results and then you can ask it to explain something in particular or what to search next while keeping the context of what happened before.
It's interesting because with Google, we always had to find the right keywords to find something, but you had to write a couple of them. And now we are writing even more because we are writing the whole conversation. So it's like we are so it's like we come from writing a bit to get what we want to write a lot to get what we want. It's true the results are much better now, but still
writing a lot and reading a lot,
yeah.
Right? Because those results are very verbose sometimes.
Then another one, and this one is interesting actually. In Google Meet, we use Google Meet, by the way. We use all the Google stuff. They included real-time speech translation. So we could now basically have a conversation, Giorgio talking in Italian and I talking in Spanish, and then we would get the translation in real time. So we could have a conversation in our own languages, although we don't speak each other's language. So that's actually quite interesting. I guess it's not part of our plan, so I guess we cannot give it a try.
Probably not.
So hopefully one day we will make money and we can give it a try. But now we stick to the basic plan. So no translation, just plain English.
Actually learning a common language.
Then we have Google Beam.
I think we also don't have enough money to see that in
for sure
yet.
Not. But this one goes towards what Meta was trying to do, right? Like, is it similar to the metaverse, or how does it work?
I guess so. I think it's also kind of a gimmick, you could say. But yeah, no, I mean the idea is, as I understand it, that they can send multiple images across video, and so like a video conference. So instead of sending one picture, they send 2 or 3 of them, and through that, on the other end, they can reconstruct a 3D model, and then I guess through some fancy screen, they give you something that feels like maybe a hologram.
But you don't need their glasses, right?
And I don't think you need glasses. No, I think this light field display, what they call, I think it's some sort of hologram. Yeah, and holograms, the idea is no, you don't need glasses. You don't need any special glasses. You just feel like that there is some depth in the image. Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we are obviously living in the future.
What I don't understand is if you have your own TV and then you need to put some, not plugins, but some devices on your TV, because I see there are some dots, or are they selling their own TV in partnership with some company?
No, yeah, I'm gonna guess. I think it says HP on it, so I'm gonna guess it's some special device. It's light field screens. I think, like, or light field displays. They're a completely new thing. Actually, it's probably more for HP to sell their new hardware than for Google for Google to develop a new product.
I mean, is that what they do with Waymo, right? They don't produce their own cars. They produce the software that runs on the car, so it runs by itself or it drives by itself.
Yeah. And
which is a smart move. I mean, their core business is the software part. So why should we invent cars now? Then the next one, also quite interesting for us, is Gemma 3N, which is the new open source AI model optimized to run on mobile devices, which is basically what we are doing right now with Llama CPP and Qwen, running Qwen locally.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting also to give it a try, because then you can have Gemma locally and maybe get better results.
Absolutely, because I think one of the nice things about it also supports multimodal inputs. So it could possibly Whisper could also may not be needed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We could also add images. So again, everything that we said Ecopilot can do, we could also add then images and audio directly into the picture. And again, to achieve everything locally. So, well, yeah, I guess thank you, Google. At least that you gave that to us for free as it's open source.
And then my favorite one. Virtual try-on. So basically, you can upload a picture of you and I don't know, I guess you connect to some store or maybe they have their own clothes. But the thing is, you can try on virtually in your phone with a picture of you, different pieces of clothes, different dresses or different whatever. So to give you some context, I'm a bit frustrated because I had this idea when, I don't know how many years ago, but machine learning was the new thing. I mean, machine learning has been a thing for many years, but back then, you know how it works. AI now is the trendy thing, although AI exists since the 50s, but now it's a thing because of the LLMs and all the advancing architecture. So back then, machine learning, concretely deep learning was the thing. And I had this idea of having on your phone an app where you can basically run a model, an AI model. You can feed it with different pictures and so on of your clothes and stuff and from you. And then you can see the try-on virtually and the model will learn about you and your likes. So it can suggest you stuff and connect to the internet, to different shops and find those pieces of clothes and show them to you in real life and on your phone. So the feedback I got from every woman I asked was very positive. Yes, I would use that. I would even pay for it. And I would even take the effort to scan all the clothes, all the dresses and clothes and stuff that I have in my wardrobe, in my closet. And the feedback I got from men was like, that's impossible. I myself, human, I cannot understand women. So why an AI will understand women? It's like, what the hell? What is that for a feedback?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't do it. And I was alone back then anyway, and it was a lot of effort. So I didn't even try. But now with all the models being released, especially one from Alibaba, I realized this is again possible and even easier to implement. And I wanted to give it a try, but then we had too many products on our pipeline and we prioritized that one. Also, Giorgio was a bit reluctant. And now Google released the virtual try-on.
But again, we could take it as validation. So people are looking for it, I guess. Google would know if people are looking for it.
And I asked again a couple of women. I mean, I asked 5-6 women, and they all were positive about it. They would pay for this kind of product. But yeah, one thing though is that, and I think this virtual try-on from Google doesn't have it, is women don't care only about the forefront, it's like how it looks, in front of me, but I want also to be the backside. And I had already an idea on how to solve that, and I think the Google virtual try-on is not solving it. So I think we still have a chance, Giorgio. But of course, I wanted to do it locally because, many women let's not say women, and probably men also want to use this product. But I asked mostly women. So I cannot, the only man I asked, you know already the answer. So another added value was that not only the 360 vision, but also that it runs locally. So you are not sending your pictures or pictures of you to some cloud provider. You might be uncomfortable with that. So with all what's happening with local models and stuff, I thought that maybe it was worth a try to be able to run one of those models locally on your phone, so you don't have to send your data out. And I think for images might even be possible, but for videos, I think it's going to be hard. And to do this 360, we might need videos for it, right? Especially if we want to do some kind of animation. But we could do it in a way that you get the local thing for images, and then if you want the 360, then you can upload features, and then you need to do it on the cloud, right? So I have hope that maybe when I'm 50, I will have my virtual try-on live. So I think that's it for this week. I think we went well this time, almost 1 hour. But I hope you enjoy the content of this podcast. And we hope to hear from you again next week.